read this first excerpt first. Okay, kind of an intense excerpt. Okay, let's first do number one before we look for some of our appeals. It says, what emotion is Old Major trying to evoke in this paragraph? Remember, this is like mood. What would be the feelings of the other animals listening, the feeling of his audience? Yes, ma'am.
Dread, despair.
Dread, despair. Good. Adding an E. There we go. Dread or despair. That's good. And again, what are they dreading? Death, right? Which Old Major has already said is kind of inevitable, right? That's the one fate that every animal shares. Okay, number two is asking us to examine the imagery. Remember, that's anything that appeals to one of our senses. So within this excerpt, what's something that we can hear? And again, it's supposed to make us afraid of this death. Grayson? Yeah, those little porkers, right? Our little pigs screaming. Okay, what's something we can see? Oh, does it say your throat slit? Oh, yeah. I would say the cut throat is good. That may also be something you can feel. You can probably put that on either. Cut throat. I'm a dog lover, so the brick around the dog's neck really got me. Okay, what's something we can feel? This sounds painful to me. Yeah, drowning, right? The boiling. Ugh. What would all of these images you think best appeal to? Ethos, pathos, or logos? What'd you say? Pathos, very good. So let's highlight those are pathos. Okay. Are there any appeals to ethos in this section? Remember, ethos is credibility. Where do we see that? Good, right? I am 12 years old. Again, he has children. He's seen this happen. Ethos is my yellow color, right? Yes. We talked on Friday, again, you guys watched this video, about a new fallacy. So we talked fallacies in semester one. Remember, fallacies are just flaws in argument, okay? Semester one, we talked about this when we were in that night unit and we were analyzing propaganda. Remember, we talked about like bandwagon, force and fear. Are those sounding familiar? Okay, good. We have another one. He's oversimplifying. That's another fallacy, right? That's a flaw. How is he oversimplifying their problem? What does he kind of keep saying? What is the problem? Just man. Like, that's it, okay? That is a fallacy, right? Only get rid of man. Why does he do that? Only get rid of man. How might that affect the animal's feelings? Okay, shows it's not their fault. What else?
Animals should be united.
The animals should be united, right? Again, sets man up as the enemy. Does this rebellion, does it sound like something we can accomplish if we only have to get rid of man? Yeah, like it makes us feel like this is something that we can actually do. It's used kind of to build the confidence of the animals and make it seem simple. If it seemed super duper hard, right? Would they do it? Would they put in the effort and try when they're like, okay, you have a 1% chance of making this happen? Probably not, right? So this is why he uses that oversimplification. Where else do you see him doing that in this excerpt? Him making it seem easier than it probably actually is going to be. Look at his word choice. What else does he say? Where's that at? Okay, overthrow the human race. Like, again, that's what he's wanting to do. Look at how long he says it's going to take. almost overnight. Like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is probably going to take 8 hours and our life's going to be perfect, right? Again, he's trying to simplify it to make us be motivated to want to do it, right? Does that make sense? All right, let's look at question number 3. We're looking for alliteration. I see it almost immediately in this excerpt. Remember, alliteration is what? We just had our poetry unit. There's no way you forgot it. Thank you. The repetition of our consonants, right? Where are we seeing that? Right. Is it not crystal clear then, comrades? So highlight that one orange. Okay. What's he trying to achieve with that alliteration? Again, he's saying it's simple. Good. And again, for the same reason he's using that fallacy. He's trying to gain confidence, right? Encourage the animals to side with him. What do you think that would appeal to? Ethos, pathos, or logos? Like, this is easy. Yeah, pathos again, right? We're not going to highlight it pathos because we're sticking with our alliteration color. All right, what is Old Major's call to action? He finally says it directly. He's alluded to it this whole time, but he says it directly now. What'd you say? Rebellion. Yeah, rebellion. Look at how he does it. I'm going to highlight this in our pathos color. Question 4 here is asking, how does he emphasize it? What do you notice about just the way he wrote this speech? How does he emphasize this rebellion? Point, right? He uses an exclamatory sentence, that exclamation, right, to emphasize his point. Notice too, he uses the colon to put his call to action all by itself, right? That short, simple clause is hanging by itself to draw attention to it, right? He has long sentences all around it, and then boom, just a very simple clause with the call to action, right? All by itself. So again, that is a technique writers use to draw attention to it. So I would say exclamatory sentence, and it's all by itself. And that's one way to use a colon when you're like trying to introduce like something of importance. You guys are probably used to seeing it like with lists, like please get the following from the grocery store, colon, right? Milk, eggs, and bread, or whatever. But this is another technique for the colon. All right, how might we describe Old Major's tone in this excerpt? How do we describe his tone? Does he still have this like kind of sad, fed up tone? Exactly. He seems like motivated. He seems super confident. What are some lines that support this answer? What shows how motivated he is? What shows his confidence? He seems very assured here. Janelle, is that a hand?
No, Australia says he's shopping in that's 10 hours later, so will be done.
Good. Like, very matter of fact here, right? There is straw beneath his feet. He knows this is going to happen. Just while we're here, this isn't a question. Find me a rule of 2 in this excerpt. Remember, rule of 2 and 3 is just saying, like, my students are smart and funny. That's 2 things right next to each other. The reason writers use rules 2 and 3 is because just psychologically speaking, right, your brain memorizes those and remembers those much more easier than longer lists or single words, okay? Where do we see a rule of 2? That rich and free. I would say this is a strong appeal to pathos. Let's contrast this rule of 2 with the rule of 2 that was used in excerpt number 1. What are the animals' lives currently like? Did he say in excerpt 1? Yeah, not good. He said misery and slavery, right? So look at how their lives are going to change after the rebellion, right? Rich and free. Which one would you obviously choose? Obviously rich and free. So again, he's wanting to motivate them to, right, rebel. Remember, like, one of his main mottos is that whatever goes upon two legs is an enemy, right? Whatever has four legs or wings is a friend. He's kind of reiterating that here by saying man is our enemy. Man is someone we cannot trust, right? And in the first excerpt, how did he show us that we can't trust man? What does man do? Yeah, they take our children, right? They took the eggs, they took the ponies, they took the milk, right? They take. So we definitely cannot trust man. Number 6 is asking about parallel structure. This is the repetition of a grammatical form. We're pretty used to seeing parallel structure when we're doing like items in a list. Remember, I've used this example a million times. Which of these is not parallel? Miss App likes sleeping, to watch TV, and eating. Which one does not match? To watch TV, right? You need to change that to watching TV to match each other. That's how we've seen parallel structure so far. You see it in a sentence formation here in this example, so I'm going to help you out. Look at this one. All men are enemies. All animals are comrades. Okay, and then we'll talk about what he's trying to emphasize through that. When we think of parallel structure in English, it's like it's the same, it's equal. So by putting these ideas, okay, these kind of tenets, if you will, in parallel structure, he's trying to say like both of these are equally important to the success of this rebellion, right? We cannot just know that all men are enemies, because if we forget that all animals are comrades, we're not going to be successful, and vice versa, right? So he's trying just to emphasize the importance of both of these. Does that make sense? That's a hard one. Okay, remind me, the clever animals. What animal is clever? What are some of the animals who are more clever than others?
Those dogs and the bull.
Yeah, the dogs and the pigs, right? The dogs and the pigs are more clever. Who are our simpler animals? Who's probably the most simple? He kind of gets attention for being, yeah, our buddy Boxer, right? Boxer, the horses are a little more simple. The animals like the rats are pretty simple. So just keep in mind as we continue to read Animal Farm how the animal's level of intelligence kind of plays a role in, I don't want to give anything away, their life, okay? Find me a detail from this excerpt that appeals to the ethos or credibility of the audience. Look at this word here. It's our duty. Like, this is a moral obligation, if you will. Our duty. Number 7 is one of my all-time favorite devices. Polly Denton, right? That's when we repeat our fanboy. So for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. What fanboy is repeated a lot here? What coordinating conjunction? Or, nice. Okay. I think I told you to circle. Just, oh, no, I did bold. Okay, bold them. No animal must ever live in a house or sleep in a bed or wear clothes or drink alcohol or smoke tobacco or touch money. Oh my God, last one. Or engage in trade. Again, what are we trying to emphasize? What is Old Major trying to emphasize through that Polly Denton? Yeah, we must not come to resemble man. This reminds me of your journal quote from Study Guide 1, right? Because if you start to resemble the enemy, you're essentially what? Becoming the enemy, right? You're becoming the exact thing that you once resented or hated, right? So he's kind of just warning against that. Why do you think he lists so many of them? What are we trying to emphasize about man?
Everything they do is bad.
Yeah, everything they do is bad. Like, man has no redeeming qualities to the animals, okay? All habits of man are bad. Good. Number 8 is just saying, and kind of in your own words, what is Old Major's utopia? First of all, what is a utopia? Say it again. Their own personal world, but what's that world like? Perfect, like no problems. Okay, so in Old Major's mind, what is this perfect world? No man, right? A world without man. Right, just because we haven't really done a ton of appeals highlighting here, what would this, all habits of men are evil, we must never tyrannize over our own kind, we're all brothers. Yeah, I would say pathos would be good there. Good. An anecdote in number 9. An anecdote is just a short, like, personal story. What is Old Major's anecdote about? What's he sharing in this anecdote? Yeah, but what's his actual story about in this section? He's like, oh my God, when I was little.
My mom used to talk to me about freedom.
Yeah, he's talking about Beast of England, right? Look at what he repeats a lot. Take a minute to examine. What's repeated quite a bit in this anecdote? Because we're trying to figure out, why is he sharing this? What's repeated a lot in the anecdote? Take a minute to reread. Okay, the word I, again, that lets us know it is a personal anecdote. Good. His dream. Yes. Why dream? Why did this come to him in a dream, you think? What's another way we use that word dream? Like something you want, like something you hope for, right? Like when you think of Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, right? He's kind of using it in that way as well. What other words do you repeat in Grayson? What is? Oh my gosh, sorry. I'll change that right. Well, there you go. I know, it's stuck on you guys. You guys can change it. Look at this. It was a dream of the earth when man had vanished, blah, blah, blah. It reminded me of something that I had long forgotten many years ago when I was a little pig. I'd known that in my infancy, but it had long since passed out of mind. I am certain these were songs of animals of long ago. Okay, why does he repeat that? What is he trying to say here? Why is it repeating of, like, people were singing this for a long time, I sang this long ago? He says somewhere for like generations. Yeah, been lost to memory for generations. He kind of keeps restating. I shouldn't have said repeating because he restates it more, so it's not always the same word. But what idea does he keep restating? It was a long time ago. Why does he want us to know that? What's he trying to? They weren't free. They were singing this song about freedom for a long time. Grayson? Yeah, this rebellion, good. This idea of the rebellion has been around for a really long time, which tells us, how have animals been treated for a really long time? Really terribly. So when you look at it like this and you're like, this has been happening forever, right? This has been happening for generations. How should that make the animals feel? Angry, right? Like, okay, enough is enough. This has been going along around like too long. Like, it might spark them and motivate them, like, now's the time, right? We've been putting up with this crap for too long. Now's the time. Okay, we're fed up, we're ready for change. What would this anecdote best appeal to? The anecdote and the song, right? Big appeal to pathos there. We talked about number 10 before when we first read chapter 1. Why put it in a song? Why teach the animals a song? Why was that smart of him? What do we say about a song versus, it's catchy. Who's going to be able to remember now these ideologies? Everybody, including our not so smart animals, right? Like our lower animals. Good. Remember what we say? Boxer, sheep, ducks, etc. Right? Like you're like, oh yeah, the ducks were quacking it. The cows were, right? So you didn't be feeling it. They all got it, even the low animals. All right, last one of the day. We're asking about connotations. Remember, connotations are like the feelings and ideas associated with words. Okay? What are some of the negative connotations with that word beast? Yeah, like it's like kind of a threatening connotation, like uncivilized. Okay? What might be some of the positive connotations? Like, why does Bevel East uses this a lot? Why are they like, oh, you're a beast? Why do we use that? Awesome, like strong. Yeah. What'd you say, Grayson?
Because we're uncivilized.
Oh, no. That's funny though.
That one too.
Hey, again, notice like beast is probably the word animals would use for the animals, right? But they're kind of taking ownership of that word now and turning it into something positive, right? Again, they want to be strong. Who are we trying to take down? Man, exactly.